So, exciting times folks, but what is in the box? I'll give you a clue. It says on it AtomRC. Now they make quite a few models. I'll tell you what's in there in a minute, and in fact I'm going to do a complete unboxing. It's my first kit aircraft that I've bought in 20-30 years. In fact, I don't know if I've even ever bought a kit really. I've bought a couple of ARTFs, including that Fun World EP, which was a disaster. Don't know if you saw the video, that fell apart even when I tested it on the ground. But anyway, what led to this, you could say? Why on earth did I buy a kit? Well, there is a story behind it, if I can bore you with it a minute. As you may remember, I've been on a bit of a quest for FPV. I'm getting very close to actually flying FPV proper now. Bought some new goggles. Now these have been around for years, the Eachine EV800Ds. Diversity goggles. A little bit disappointed with the image I got, because even using a 4K camera or a 1080 camera, I'm still only getting a 720 image. But the one thing about them that is really good, being Diversity, when I first tested them just around my front garden, previous goggles I've used, I lost the signal as soon as I went behind the bushes. These are much better receivers, and I found that even my little tiny all-in-one camera plus transmitter like this, even my little tinier one that I built quite a few years ago, even this one is giving me a very good signal. So that was one improvement. I've also been working on testing different cameras and different transmitters to use. I'll show you a few here, quite a few. I've got the flight controller ready to go with it. Actually by mistake, instead of buying the Speedy B405 Wing Mini, I bought the bigger version, but I'm hoping it's going to go into this. It should do. And the plane I intend to use is this one, my good old Bixler, which is flying well. I've got quite a few alternatives for cameras. I've got these tiny little ones that hook on, or I can put bigger proper 1080 cameras on here. Made quite a few mounts. Flight controller and it's working well. So it's got loiter and it's got return to home, which is crucial. All I'm waiting for with this really is a good day and a spotter, because the plan is to fly it around in a few circles in loiter, get used to the view, and then actually take control of it again. But speaking about testing, that leads me to the kind of minor catastrophe that led to me buying this. So what happened then, Bob? About 7 or 8 years ago, Banggood I think it was, sent me a Bayang Toys X21 drone for review. Quite a big drone. I think basically it was a DJI Phantom clone. Nice drone, GPS, return to home, auto hover. I fitted it with quite a heavy gimbal, action camera, and actually got some good video with it. But what happened was, as a kind of way to have a bit of practice with my FPV, I pulled that old drone out again, charged everything up, took it in my front garden just to check that everything was working fine on it. Fired it up. Receiver said it had about 16 satellites, so I fired it up and hovered it at about 4 or 5 feet. Looking great, fine. Then it started climbing and climbing, so of course I reduced the throttle thinking it should come down now, but it didn't come down. Then I pressed the button, land. Didn't want to land. Eventually it just went up and up till it was a tiny little dot, but I think GPS hold was still holding it there, and I was thinking, well, sooner or later it's going to come down when the battery runs out, and the battery did run out, and it came down props first, smashed itself to bits, gimbal came flying off, case was broken. I did try and put it back together. I got the boards out, tried, but couldn't get it working again. I have managed to get the gimbal working again, which is amazing. Incidentally, that's the tiny little gyro on it. Because I used to test cameras, I've also got quite a few cameras that are suitable to use on it, and the one I've chosen to use is this old Git 2, which gives good 1080 video and also FPV out. But to get to the point, I was very disappointed at losing that drone. Went onto eBay and saw X16, call it upgraded version, GPS hold. It was in fact the forerunner to the X21, and just £80 boxed. And I thought, to ease the pain, I'll buy it. And here it is, with a few modifications from me. In other words, video transmitter on there, LED lights on the front so I know which way it's facing, bit of reflective stuff on it. Anyway, obviously before I did that, I took it to the local sports field to test and see if GPS hold and so on would work. Well, first off, when you fire it up, outdoors of course, once it's got enough satellites, these flashing lights stop flashing and go solid. They just wouldn't go solid. Went to the local sports field with it, great big open space. It flew, but no GPS hold, no return to home, and I thought I'd been stitched up, to be honest. So I figured, well, I'll take it apart and see if it has actually got a GPS in it. I know what they look like. I've taken these apart before. Anyway, took it apart, opened the case, and sure enough, there was a GPS. Well, first rule of electronic servicing, and I did do a course in electronic servicing, is look for anything obvious physical wrong. And sure enough, 3 little pins go into the tiny little plugs into the GPS, and I could see that the negative pin was just slightly protruding. Could it be that it's not actually plugged in properly? Anyway, cut a long story short, pushed it in with a cocktail stick, took the whole board, took it unassembled out in my front garden, and sure enough, when I fired it up, these lights did stop flashing, so I thought, that's it, the GPS is now working in it. So, as you can see anyway, I've made a few mods to it, made a few shot-proof mounts for it, including this one, which I particularly like, which works really well with Hawkeye Firefly Q6, and of course, being mounted on foam, saves you the vibration. Also FPV camera, but records as well. So, I'm all set to fly, and just for a test, I did actually fly this the other day on my goggles, which is quite scary because I could hear it, and I knew it wasn't about to hit me. And I'm already pretty scared of drones, having had a close encounter last year with the X-21, which did quite a lot of damage to my arm. Don't look at this picture if you're squeamish. Anyway, flew it and landed this away from me, purely on the goggles, which was actually quite fun. So the next step obviously is to fly the lovely old Bixler. But the question is, to get to the point, I started off by saying I bought a kit. Why did I buy the kit? Well, after its disastrous crash, the X-21 wasn't repairable, but I did salvage some useful bits from it, including 4 beautiful motors, very powerful motors in fact, and online investigations suggested that they'd be ideal for a nice twin FPV long-range plane. So I began looking and decided on the AtomRC Swordfish, which is what is in the box. Plus, to be honest, after 15 big little RC conversions and 6 of the small ones, I'd run out of ideas for RC builds of little cheapy foamy gliders. So wanted a project anyway, and this seems ideal. Plus, let's face it, in the UK, we get more building weather than we do flying weather. So I needed something to do, and I'm looking forward to putting this together. I think the first thing we've got to do is get it out of the box and see what you get. I couldn't find anywhere online an unboxing of just the basic kit. You can buy this in quite a few different versions. Basic kit, plug and play and ready to fly. You can also, it also comes, if you want, already installed with flight controllers and so on. But anyway, let's get it out of the box. Right, so what have we got here then? We have a wing. That's nice. I wasn't sure what to expect, but it's got an engine mount cowling on it. Ailerons are on, complete with control horns. We have another wing, very nicely packed. A fuselage. Now, it's been around quite a while this, so plenty of videos online. A fuselage, nice quality foam, very firm. It's even got a little landing wheel there, hatch underneath, hatch in the front, and as I can see here, control rods for the V-tail are there, an alternative hatch here with an FPV camera mount, carbon rod for the wing, that's the V-tail, and incidentally these kind of clip on. Manual, which I've been told on other people's reviews is next to useless. And some very nice stickers. Now I've got a feeling, well I'm hoping, that screws on. Oh, that's better. Okay, right. I thought there was more. Okay, so in here we've got the little covers that cover the speed controllers in the wings. I think that's what they must be. Oh yeah, I thought so. There's wood. There are some little wooden bits in the kit that you need. Let's see what's in this one. I say, despite all my searching online, I haven't actually managed to find a video of an unboxing of the complete plane. So this is a first for me. And as you can see, that's already built in there to take the servos. And we've got some electronic hardware here, which is very good, because the idea of it with these kind of wings is, as I've seen online, you can actually detach them for transport, and obviously you need some, got a feeling I get the nav lights with it too, and it's got a couple of lovely nav lights that go on the end of the wings. Let's take a closer look what's in those little plastic packets. Right, well, as I was just saying, a little package of electrical bits. These are obviously the connectors for to connect the wing if you want to remove them. I'd probably leave mine on. Even some bits of wire there for wiring through to the speed controllers. You've got a few little hatch covers and bits and pieces there. I was wondering how I was going to mount my motors that I'd salvaged from the crashed drone. Looking at the engine mounts there, it wasn't very obvious how that was going to go on, but fortunately I see we've got some plates here, and those go nicely on there, and that screws, as far as I can see, onto that mount that I showed you. That's good. Those are servo thingy covers. There are the little nav lights there. That's another connector there, obviously, for the plug-in electrics connectors. A couple of other little covers. That goes on the back of the fuselage as a kind of tail skid, as far as I can see. I must say, it says online the instructions are poor. They're worse than poor. They just don't tell you anything. There is a little diagram there which showing you what these bits and pieces are, but I still can't see an explanation for what this is. But anyway, I expect I'll work it out. I wanted a challenge, and it looks like I've got one. So it's all there, not damaged, and looks very good. Not going to do exceedingly detailed build blog because there are quite a few online, but I will show you kind of my installation, and then hopefully at some point a maiden flight. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tale. If you have, please give it a like, helps my algorithms, and if you want to see how I get on with this, please hit the old subscribe button. But that's all for now. Hopefully I'll catch you all later. Bye for now. And that is looking extremely good. That has got a nice GPS hold, a little tiny bit of drift, but it's actually working. Go a little bit upwind and try return to home, which is that button there. And it's climbing first, and it's coming back. And with a bit of luck, it's going to do a really nice gentle landing, and look how close that is to my plastic. I deliberately moved out the way in case it flew into me, and it's landed right back where it took off.